Hi everyone, I'm Emily Tao, the Communications Department Director at the IATSE, and I'm here with Molly Katchpole, our department's Outreach Coordinator. For those of you who don't know, the IATSE is the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees. We're the union that represents workers behind the scenes in the entertainment industry. We have about 120,000 members between the U.S. and Canada, and our members work as stagehands, cinematographers, wardrobe, hair, makeup, animation, sound setup at rock shows, Super Bowl intermission crews, and much more. You probably recognize the IATSE logo at the end of the credits at most major films and television shows. Molly and I are the communications team at the IATSE International, and we do social media management, email blasts, we maintain the website, we support other craft-specific departments in their organizing campaigns and strikes. We also work closely with our education department to provide tailored training for our local members. If you want to learn more about social media for local unions, we have a social media guide available online at bit.ly.com/IATSE social media. We'll have the link out again at the end, so don't worry too much about writing that down now. We're excited to be giving you all an introduction to hashtags today. Since we have a lot of time for questions at the end, I'll ask you all to save your questions until then. Now I'll hand it off to Molly.
Hello, my name is Molly Katchpole, and I'm the Communications Outreach Coordinator for the IATSE. And this training is about using Twitter hashtags, and by the end of it, I hope everyone will have a clearer understanding of what a hashtag is and how to effectively use one. So what you're looking at on this slide are 3 tweets, and I will use them to illustrate the number of reasons why the IATSE uses Twitter. Since we have members across the United States and Canada, it's important for us to make sure that communication is easy. We use our Twitter account for a few primary reasons: to share IATSE-related news and education and training opportunities, and you can see that by the top left-hand tweets where we share a link to a page that provides information about our upcoming Young Workers Conference. We use our Twitter account to share photos and videos from our members, and you can see that by the tweet on the right, and it's a photo of one of our members with the Boston Mayor, Marty Walsh. We use it to answer questions, and you can see that evidenced by the bottom left-hand tweet, where we answer the members' questions about logo use. We also use Twitter to interact with other labor unions and organizations, politicians, journalists, and reporters. Finally, Twitter, for us, is a good way to stay on top of what's happening in the entertainment and labor. So we've noticed that other unions use Twitter for very similar reasons as us. So here are 3 tweets, one from the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, one from the SEIU, and one from the Society of Professional Engineering Employees in Aerospace, or SPEA. Both USPW and SEIU have large organizing campaigns going on, which they share images from. And SPEA is shown tweeting news that pertains to their membership, much like we do. So this is why we're all here, to find out what a hashtag does. Once we understand the basics of why and how we can use Twitter, it's important to understand what exactly a hashtag is. Since there's so much happening on Twitter, millions and millions of tweets are sent per day, we need a way to keep track of things. And that's where the hashtag comes in. The hashtag makes a group of words, or a word, into a searchable link. So a hashtag does 3 main things. 1, organize and group tweets. 2, it helps users participate in conversations. And 3, a hashtag can promote events and campaigns. We'll look at specific examples on the following slide. So for organizing and grouping tweets, we're going to use the example of hashtag IATSE. We use this hashtag in our tweets fairly often. The top tweet on this slide is one of ours, and the bottom one is from our visual effects organizing campaign. Both tweets incorporate hashtag IATSE to essentially label them. Now this is a really important detail about hashtags. Notice how hashtag IATSE and the other words with the hashtag in front of them, like Save the Met and 1U, is a different color. And that means you can click them, because they're links. And once you do that, you're brought to a page that will show you all of the other tweets that contain that hashtag. it'll look like this. You can see in the upper right-hand corner in the red box, it says hashtag IATSE. That's because we clicked the IATSE in one of the tweets before, and we were brought to this page. All tweets that contain that hashtag. You can see who is using the hashtag to categorize their tweets, but it's mostly us, our local members, and other folks in the wider entertainment industry. You can use a hashtag to participate in conversations. Recently, the $15 minimum wage fight has picked up. The organizers behind the fight came up with hashtag Fight for 15. If you want to participate in the Twitter conversation that's happening about the fight, you can mark your tweets with that hashtag. In these two examples, you can see how diverse the Fight for 15 movement is. The top tweet from Unite Here tells the story of a fired housekeeper from Rhode Island. The bottom tweet from a labor organization in Washington State shares a USA Today link about their new $15 minimum wage victory. And like before, if you click on hashtag Fight for 15, you're brought to this page. It's all of the people talking about the fight for $15 minimum wage. There are tweets from Rhode Island, Washington, Illinois, California, and more. So you can see just how far-reaching this fight is, and get tons of links to news stories, photos, campaigns, and more. Now, imagine being a journalist who is asked to cover the campaign. Most journalists now will use social media to learn more about their subject. Now, they could search the hashtag, which is a pretty widely known one at this point, and find all of these articles, photos, and videos, as well as people who are connected to the movement that they could reach out to and talk with. Finally, you can use the hashtag to promote an event or campaign. Many people use hashtags specifically to promote an event or campaign. In the example of hashtag Fight for 15, it's both promoting a campaign and participating in a conversation. So right now, you're participating in an ASL-CIO digital training, and they've picked the hashtag OneUDigital to promote it. Hashtag OneU is a widely used hashtag within the labor community, and it stands for One Union. So the ASL attached digital to this widely used hashtag to make it easy to communicate about their digital training series. Here you can see two examples of hashtags being used to promote an event. And when you click hashtag OneUDigital, once again you're brought to the results page, and you can see all of the folks talking about the training. So what makes an effective hashtag? An effective hashtag has a few characteristics that are important to think about when you're coming up with one. First, it should be specific. If you want your tweets to stand out amongst millions of other tweets, you should use a hashtag that's unique to your campaign. For example, UFCW is working along Walmart associates to demand better wages and working conditions. They generally use hashtag Walmart stickers. It wouldn't do them any good if you simply use hashtag Walmart, as it would get lost in the sea of people tweeting about things they just bought at Walmart, and so on. Second, your hashtag should be an appropriate length. Since you only have 140 characters to get your message across on Twitter, your hashtag shouldn't take up half of that. Similarly, it shouldn't be so short that it's vague and difficult to understand. Third, your hashtag should be easy to remember and logical. A long, confusing acronym probably isn't the best hashtag to use. Finally, make sure it's original. You can check to see if anyone has used your idea by navigating to the search box on the top right, typing in your hashtag, and searching. If nothing comes up, it's probably good to use. So in a case study for effective hashtags, I'll use the campaign we're currently working on at the IATSE. 6 of our locals work within the Metropolitan Opera House here in New York City. Hair and makeup, wardrobe, broadcast technicians, ticket sellers, stagehands, and scenic design artists. Contract negotiations have come up, and instead of seeking collaborative solutions, the Met's leadership is blaming the cost of its untested new business model on the craftsmen, artists, and technicians who work to make the Met productions so great. They launched the Save the Met Opera campaign to raise awareness of how valuable backstage artists are to putting on high-quality shows at the Met Opera. So let's consider the 4 guidelines we just discussed. On this slide, you can see how we promote the hashtag and a few things that show up when it's searched. So the Save the Met hashtag, is specific and original. No one has been using it before. It clearly illustrates the fight, and it's a good rallying cry. Thus, it's easy to remember. It's also short enough to put in tweets. We could have used hashtag Save the Met College Opera, but that's too long. And the Met is a commonly used abbreviation. It wouldn't have done us any good to use just hashtag opera, since the tweets would get lost in the mix of people tweeting about opera and not our specific fight. Once you've come up with a good idea, it's time to put in place the mechanics. First, you can only use letters and number characters in order to make a hashtag. Any other characters like percentage signs, asterisks, ampersands, and so on will not work. And you can see that illustrated by the example I have here on the slide. Second, don't add spaces. The group of characters immediately following the hashtag constitutes the link. So if we added spaces to Save the Met, the hashtag would only be saved. The Met would get cut off. Third, remember that uppercase and lowercase letters yield the same results when you're searching for your hashtag on Twitter. Save the Met in uppercase and Save the Met in lowercase will return the same results after searching. Finally, it's important to remember that if your Twitter account is private, your tweets using a hashtag will not show up in search results. Now, once you've created your hashtag and started to use it, you can use the search bar at the top to check out how it's doing. Now, this is what your screen will look like. Navigate to the top right-hand corner and type in your hashtag in the search box. Click the magnifying glass and your screen will look like this. You'll notice it's the same screen that pops up when you click directly on the hashtag in a tweet, like we looked at before. The green box shows an option of choosing between top and all tweets. Choosing top will give you the results of a Twitter algorithm that determines which tweets are most relevant. Oftentimes, it's a tweet that's been retweeted multiple times, a tweet from an influential, someone with a lot of followers, or it's a promoted tweet, in this case, with making change at Walmart. Promoted just means that the tweet is paid for. So Making Change at Walmart decided to promote this tweet so that when you search hashtag Walmart strikers, this one would come up first. They link to a petition in their promoted tweet, which is a really great strategy for driving folks to their website. Choosing all will give you just that. All tweets filter by most recent ones at the top. The red box is another way to filter your results. While the options there are pretty self-explanatory, people, photos, videos, news, and so on, it's good to know why you might want to choose one over the other. For example, if you're providing online support to an on-the-ground action, and you specifically ask attendees to take photos and use a certain hashtag, you can filter by using photos and see all the photos taken at the action. Sometimes a hashtag campaign can get flooded with spam, or people not using the hashtag for its intended purposes. And if that's the case, it could be helpful to use the people you know filter, so you know you're getting results from people you know. Similarly, you can see how people in your area are using that specific hashtag by narrowing it down. That's good to use when the hashtag has national coverage, like Walmart strikers. Finally, the yellow box shows trending hashtags. Again, that's the result of the Twitter algorithm. If enough people are using a certain hashtag at a certain time and maybe even in a certain place, it could cause the hashtag or words to trend. For example, Super Bowl, or some variation of that, will always trend while Super Bowl is airing. After Philip Seymour Hoffman died, his name goes trending. And it's not necessarily the best tool, since if enough people are talking about Justin Bieber, his name will trend. So speaking of Justin Bieber, all sorts of people use Twitter, not just activists. Because of that, it's important to remember that all hashtags hold a very informal space on the internet. Or excuse me, not all hashtags do, but many hashtags hold a very informal space on the internet. There's a great New Yorker piece And writer Susan Orlean came up with some great examples to illustrate other ways that people use hashtags. We have a small bit.ly link at the bottom of this slide, so you can check out the article on your own. It's really great, and I definitely suggest reading it if you want to learn a little bit more about informal usage. So here's the idea that we're going to work off of for this. I would rather have a moose for president than Mitt Romney. So the first one I have there, categorizing. That's how we've talked about hashtags throughout this presentation. So this should look pretty normal to everyone. If you did, I would rather have a moose for president, hashtag Mitt Romney, this tweet would get grouped in with all other tweets about Mitt Romney. Side commentary is what you imagine you might say to a friend in conversation. Mitt Romney for president, hashtag I would rather have a moose. So in this situation, I would rather have a moose is a comment about what you just said. No one would really ever search for the hashtag I would rather have a moose. Finally, a disclaimer is just that, a sort of an internet asterisk. I would love to have Mitt Romney for president, hashtag just kidding. The writer of the article notes that it's a verbal, more sophisticated version of a winking emoticon, which is shown on this slide. Finally, there are fun trends like hashtag TBT that you can take part in. Hashtag TBT means Throwback Thursday. So on Thursdays, tweeters post a throwback, like an old photo, along with a description. We have a great photo archive at IATSE, so we've been posting pictures like this on the left, which got over 30 retweets. It was really funny to see people responding to the photo and even coming up with their own fake captions. And so we also posted it on Facebook, where it did equally as well. And on the right, you see an example of the hashtag Stage Shot Sunday. The stagehands and backstage crew of theaters use this hashtag to take a photo of what they're up to that day, because Sundays are a common work day for theater crews. It's a nice way to share your workspace among the theater community, so we'll sometimes retweet what our members are up to. That wraps up our hashtag training. Hopefully now you have a better understanding of what a hashtag is, how to create one, and feel comfortable coming up with one in the future. Thank you.